Peace. So it is another beautiful day. I hope you guys woke up in gratitude, and if not, take your ass back to sleep, lay back down, and try it all over again, because without gratitude, baby, you can't expect things to show up the way that you want them to show up, right? Hopefully we didn't wake up in a victim mentality this morning, because at the end of the day, we are alchemists, we are creators, and whatever is currently in your cipher, it came all from you and me. So today's video, I wanted to discuss why it's important to, let's start with detachment. Okay, let's start from the root of things. Let's start from the law of detachment and why it's important to get yourself used to being detached from outcomes, people, places, things, the way that you want to have things compartmentalized in your life, and to let go of things that you just truly don't have control over. So, a lot of us, including myself at one point, was in a space of filling voids within myself through people and having certain relationships with individuals that I knew weren't healthy for me. But then I also knew that I was collecting bodies because I didn't feel. The loud cars outside are so annoying. I'm just gonna close my window for a minute. Okay, yes, silence. Silencio. Collecting bodies. I was collecting bodies because I was in a space of not loving myself deep enough and not even understanding what self-love looked like. And when you come into a space of self-actualization, you begin to take note of aspects of yourself that is acting, right? You're acting a part, you're acting on an identity that you've taken on. You're acting out of a persona that you've taken on. Whether it's true or not is all dependent upon your belief or knowingness in it, right? Because we all see things differently. And there's not one person who's going to see the same thing in the same way. And so the law of detachment is important because as we are evolving within ourselves and as we become more aware of all that we are, what you aligned yourself with, what you aligned yourself with in one state of being and where you are now and what you are now is going to be completely different. You're going to see things differently. You're going to feel things differently. The intensity of your experiences are going to be more appreciated because you're feeling deeper now. You're seeing things on a deeper level. And it's not even, I don't know, I know we kind of use the word, vibrate higher, and this is not like having your body float into a higher aspect of, yourself. It's really more about your consciousness and your awareness of things and the goggles that you are now using to view life, having a different perspective of life. And, I think that that's important to, have a deep connection with, is how you perceive your life, because how you perceive your life, even though there's dimensions of experiences here and different realities here, what you've been programmed, all right, what you've been programmed to yourself is how you're going to view life. And how I view it and how you view it are going to be two different things. Yes, there's chaos in this world, which is rightfully so, because we are a collective energy. We are co-creating in this reality together. So a lot of the chaos that is being shown, all right, which is instilling fear, it's instilling, not trusting, it's instilling a lot of things. It's instilling distracting from your higher state of being. All that is necessary, because without contrast, how could you possibly understand the difference between a light and dark aspect, right? Mama, if you don't stop scratching, I got her a scratching post which she's been using. It's been great. I'm just training her on it, and it's been great. But sometimes them little nails, I be hearing them in my couches, and I'm like, girl, you better get your life together. So, yeah, all right. So the reason why I say this is, one, observing yourself, and also realizing that as you begin to evolve, all of the friends and even family and relationships that once were a match to your vibration are no longer going to be a match for this current state that you're in. And if you don't harness and you don't honor and you don't bow down to the law of detachment, you are going to struggle with constantly seeking external validation from others, because you yourself feel and have committed to the storyline of having a void within yourself. And let's use a relationship, right? I'll use my experience. I used to always like show up at like my ex's house, and even though we weren't together, I would still show up late at night, and he was like my comfort blanket. And I sit back and I observe my actions, and I'm like, girl, why? And when I view him now, I'm just thinking to myself, for what? Like, all of that energy that you put out for that. And not to say that he's like a bad person, we're just not on the same vibe and frequency anymore. Would I do that now? Hell to the nah, I wouldn't. And so even though you've been with someone, or been in family, or been with friends for 15 or 20 years, you have to sit back and pay attention to the conversations that you guys are having. Because sometimes we'll stick into relationships because we have not learned the detachment game, or because we feel that we owe somebody something, or because we feel like, what is this person going to think? Even though deep down in myself and in my soul, I can feel that this is a discomfort for me now. But since I've known this person for so long, I feel obligated now to put myself aside in order to appease them, and that's an aspect of lack of self-love. That's not honoring, what your intuitive nature is letting you know that you need to do. It's imperative. And so when we don't, and we aren't able to leave people with love, of course, there's no need to have animosity, because you're just fucking up with your own energy. So the more that we begin to, leave people with love and to honor the detachment game, the lighter your life will flow, right? The less chaos you will have, because there is the shedding, like the snake, there's the shedding of skins that no longer fit this new narrative that you're in for yourself now. And you've done the work, you've prayed, if that's, option, you've meditated, and you have sacrificed certain aspects of your old self. And when you're in these conversations with people and they're still attached to the old you, like I had a friend of mine, we were together, for 25 years as friends. And every time her and I would get on the phone, it was constantly about what we used to do in the past, going out to the clubs, things that we used to do, how we used to get drunk together, what we used to, engage in. Every single time we got on the phone, it was never really about what and how are we moving forward in our lives in this present moment. And I'm no longer that person. That girl is dead. She's gone. She committed suicide. That girl is completely, I shot myself, because I did not want to live in that identity any longer. This is me now, in this present moment, this is me. And I had to let that go, because it just was not serving what I'm moving forward in. And when you see somebody who's stuck, it is not up to you to try to unchain them in the invisible mental space that they're in. It is up to you to decipher what is beneficial for your journey, what is beneficial for your life, and the ease in which your choices bring into your life. And that could be people, places, and things. Say hi to everybody, Mommy. Lilith. Lily. Say hey, mamita. You're my little mamas. Yeah, so, the law of detachment is something that I live by, and you should never have to feel guilty about letting situations and people go because you're serving your highest self. And what I've learned for myself in this journey is that the deeper you go within, the less external you need, and I think there's this, I forgot his name, but he was a samurai like in the 1600s. I love samurai movies. Mishiyoda. Anyways, his story was beautiful. And the reason why I love samurai movies in general is because it's not about defeating the person in front of you. It's the process of getting there. And it's a lot of mental work. It's a lot of mental work. It's about discipline. And it's about eliminating a lot of the external things to be able to go within and to train yourself in the most uncomfortable spaces in order to expand, your state of awareness. And I used to live by this, I don't want to live on the wall of suffering, and I don't. However, I think that suffering can be perceived in many ways. And when I say I don't want to live on the wall of suffering, because I'm still going to wake up, I'm still going to, go get my money. I'm still going to create my businesses. I'm still going to do all that. That's in my, nature to do at this moment in my experience. But I will also put myself in situations that maybe it's not so much the suffering aspect of it, but it's the challenging myself in getting up early in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, getting more into my meditations. And, before I wasn't really getting into meditations because I just didn't want to sit there. I didn't have the energy and the capacity to want to. Not to say that I couldn't, I just didn't want to, And now I'm realizing that meditation is important, not so much to control the mind, but to be able to tell it a different narrative. That right now in this moment, in this present moment, we're going to live in silence. And meditation for me now is something that is part of my discipline, in the mornings. And I've noticed that it really fashions the rest of my day, because I don't do work for no reason. I don't do work and live this life and sacrifice my own desires and my fleshly needs, because I am and I have been single for a very long time. I embrace, this solitude, and I embrace being able to transmute my experiences. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I constantly was dipping into other people's energy fields. There becomes this confusion of where we want to go and how we want to live, because now we've connected ourselves to another energy field, another auric field, and there's cleansing that has to be done after that. And I just don't want to have to do all that, at least not right now. So yeah, I just feel like being able to have that discipline, especially right now, meditation is something that I've added, to getting up. And is it easy? No, it's not, because I'm not programmed in that. Repetition is the mother of learning, though. The more that I do it, the more I stay consistent, the more I get myself programmed. We program ourselves in every way. What I am right now is a program, many programs. I'm still eliminating some of the debris from the old program and from the old way of being. It's still going to be there, right? Like your memory, the subconscious mind, it doesn't just delete information. However, now that you have a different perception of life, all of those old you, that aspect of you has to take a seat now, and it gets locked in, and now you can open up another door with a different key and, really be able to, observe the next steps of your life. And so I don't know how many of you are in meditation, but I know for me, it's been a beautiful transition for myself, because not only am I able to watch my thoughts like a movie screen and just allow them to come and go through meditation, but I'm also training myself throughout my day to watch my thoughts, because meditation is just not staying still in one spot, right? It's an aspect of it, but I think meditation as well is, we are a walking meditation every single day. Our thoughts are meditation. The conversations that we hold is part of our meditation, because it's honoring, yourself in a whole, no matter what you're doing. So, yeah, that's kind of been, where I'm at with that. And the more that you begin to be in solitude, the more that you're able to hear yourself and really feel yourself again, a lot of the things that you once thought you needed and required just will eventually dissipate, because you're not on that frequency anymore. And you yourself have to be mentally strong and mentally able to recognize when something needs to depart and needs to detach from this current reality of yours, because they cannot come along in this journey. That experience no longer can come into this new aspect of yourself, because there's no matches anymore, and when you begin to allow things to be just as they are, and allow things to come and go as they are, without having any objection to it, it can kind of get scary, because you begin to live in this, as people would say, I don't give a fuck mode. And you have a choice just as much as I have a choice. And if that's what you want to do, go for it. If you're here, especially when I know the energy that I'm emitting and what I'm doing and how I'm living my life intentionally, if you're not meant to be here, then I got to honor that, And why do I have to honor that? Because I'm honoring myself. So anyways, y'all, I'm going to get myself together. It's 8:10 now, and go get this money, baby. So I hope you guys have a beautiful Thursday, and just always remember that we are infinite beings with limitless possibilities. Don't let the distractions and the chaos of other people's energy fields and the collaboration of this life that we're living in drain your energy source. Or you have to stay in the essence of yourself, because we are creators. And a lot of what's happening right now is just sucking people's energy. That's all it is. It's just sucking people's energy. It's a distraction. It keeps us in this loop of getting up and, getting on our phones and, what is this person doing? Like the social media thing, like it's just all sucking our energy. So not to say that there's anything wrong with it. This is what I will always use my platform for. However, I also know the balance of it, and I know where it could lead me if I do not discipline myself. And so I have to create quiet times. She's using it. If you guys have a cat and they're tearing up your furniture, get one of those and they'll use it. All right, I love you guys. Have a beautiful and blissful day, and remember the law of detachment, and you have the power if you choose to use it. All right, peace.
Every decision that I make creates my life experiences. Whether big or small, every thought is creating my reality. Therefore, I take accountability for everything in my life.